It's just a long story. It's a long story. I just don't know, even if I tell you, I don't know why I'm telling you. I don't know what the purpose of me telling you the story is. And that's why I hesitate so much and why I haven't shared anything really. And I want to. I'm just in a place right now where in the next couple of months, I don't want to say anything that's going to jeopardize me getting into a position that I'm trying to get into in the near future. And it's not necessarily a job. I am specifically talking about taking the civil service exam and becoming a police officer. I don't want to be a cop. I don't want to be a police officer. I don't think I want to have that job for a few reasons. Primarily, the biggest reason is because, set aside that it's dangerous and there's risks and the overtime and whatever, all of that. There's so much about being a police officer that is taken that you can't have. And I know there's probably people, and especially police officers or people who work in that line of work, who are gonna say, "Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river, suck it the fuck up." Sorry, no swearing. Suck it up, be a man. You know, if you have the opportunity to have that job, then do it, you know? The problem is that I don't think anyone should go into any type of position, career, hobby, whatever, where they're so limited. Just blindly following rules. I don't necessarily believe in that. My moral compass, I would say, is a pretty damn good one. And so I have a problem, and my moral compass in my world, I follow the law. I think that it's great to have rules and that they're there for a reason. There are some rules, there are some laws I don't care about. I think they're stupid. I think that at the end of the day, it comes down to the people voting whether or not they want certain rules or regulations or policies in place in our community. And when those things are challenged, it's like when you're a police officer, like you have no say. You cannot, your right to free speech is limited or gone completely when you're a police officer. That's my hesitation. That's where I'm coming from. There are things in society that I am not the biggest fan of, and that I would not want to enforce those policies or laws blindly simply because I'm a police officer sworn into some department. And I say some department, I'm specifically trying to take this test and go through the process with my hometown's department. And it's not even to be a police officer. I'm looking for information. I'm looking for access to information. I don't know if I told you guys this. I recently graduated from Salem State University as a criminal justice. I got a graduate degree So there's undergrad, there's graduate. Graduate means it's a master's degree. It's a master's program. I finished that in May. And I started to do some research, and it was related to cannabis. And I reached out to my police department in my hometown, and it fell on deaf ears. Basically, it came down to basically having to pay some money for the type of research I wanted to conduct. And so I don't really have the means of doing that. I don't think that just because you don't have money, you shouldn't be allowed to count. That's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to count. I'm trying to count the amount of times that a specific event happens in regards to emergency responses. The same thing happened to hospitals. I reached out asking some questions to hospitals, and the responses I got, I'll try to find it, but the responses I got were so politically driven that it highlighted a problem in my head. It was like a red flag. Like, why is it that when you're trying to find information that you think is valuable, that might benefit the public in some way, some of it falls on deaf ears. Nobody wants to help you. Mind you, when I reached out to get access to some information, I sent out these emails from my school's email address. Okay, so I was reaching out academically. I CC'd some of my professors. I mean, it was as legit as possible. I still ended up doing the study. It was just differently than what I originally was planning to do. So now I'm in a place where, do I talk about my experience? Do I talk about everything that led up to me going back to school, studying criminal justice, trying to obtain information about cannabis use and emergencies? Or I shut my mouth, I don't ever post another video, I delete this entire channel, and then I go become a police officer. But then what? Then what? Let's say I am a police officer. Then what? Then I just don't have the right to freely speak about how I feel about certain policies. Some things, you might not agree with at your police department, and then if you talk about it and you go public and you post it on social media, do you think that there is a police department out there that's going to support that? At least not the department that I'm thinking of, because I remember there was I don't even want to say this, but there was a person who shared something on social media, and that person in the police department got demoted. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't inciting violence. It was a comment about budgeting or something related to our government in the city, in our state, in Massachusetts, and that person got demoted. So it's just an example, and they tell you that. They actually tell you that right in the very beginning. It's like, hey, you're better off not even having social media.